Cinnamon Cooney, your Art Sherpa, and today I want to show you how you can paint for yourself the most adorable water puppy, the Amazonian freshwater puffer fish. These fish are so cute. They are my son's very favorite fish, and they're a lot of fun to paint. They have really interesting fish facts all around them, and there's a ton of great videos about it. In fact, if you check out, I'm going to make sure they're in the description below, and I will iCard them in as well. Two videos that will tell you all about, because I don't, raise these fish. I've had them before, but if you want all those fish facts, the fun fish facts, check out Dan's Fish and MD Fish Tanks. I'm going to make sure that those two videos, MD Fish Tanks videos, like they're making a cool puffer tank, and it's kind of fun in that interesting way, where Stan kind of will like fish fact out on you, and you'll get all like the fascinating biological details of these animals. So those two are my personal two favorite videos that cover about this fish. And other than that, I'm going to show you step by step how you can paint your own at home. And the ones we paint are very easy to care for. I also have a ram's horn snail there. I think it's ram's horn snail, but you know what? It might not be. So if you're a fish fanatic and it's a different snail and you recognize it, you can tell me in the description below, but I feel like it was a ram's horn albino snail, and I'm not knowledgeable on that, so I'd love to actually have your feedback. If you're going to paint this with me, oh my goodness, you're going to have a good time. A couple of things to know. I use the satin glazing liquid in this painting, and I add some Mars Black a little later into it. I want to go over the brushes with you that I ended up using here. I used a 1-inch Princeton Select oval mop. I used a number 6 sepia round. I used the Princeton Select round blender, and I used a Catalyst Princeton 1/2-inch angle. Now, I have all these for sale in my store. If you're looking for those and you don't have them, you can find them there. But you could do this with other brushes and things. The techniques and all of that is more important. Now, I am going to show you, like you see me design this. And by the way, guys, this is my first time back painting since everything happened. So today I was like, I didn't know if I was going to be able to do this or how it was going to go. I'm so relieved that all the sleep and all the healing and all of that has resulted in me being able to paint. I feel like this is a pretty good testament to that I'm back and I'm painting again, and I did it comfortably, so I'm excited about that. Healing is so important, so remember to take care of your brain so you can paint well. And I can't wait to share with you how I did this, because this is a really fun journey for me. John won't be in this one, but he's here in spirit and in editing. And there's really nothing to do but for me to tell you the materials and exactly how you could paint this fish for yourself at home. Okay, everybody, this little green puffer fish today is going to live on an 8x8 canvas. I am putting out cad red medium paint, cad yellow medium paint, phthalo blue, yellow ochre. Now, yellow oxide will also work, so you can have yellow ochre or yellow oxide for this color and have the exact same results. Burnt sienna, ultramarine blue, phthalo blue, and down here, another bit of quinacridone magenta and ultramarine blue for our purple. And then I've got titanium white here. Quite a lot, but it's because I'm going to be using a lot of it for this painting. Now, I think I'm going to start with the ground, so let's throw up step 1, and I'm going to grab a little brush here. I'm going to get my 1-inch Princeton Select oval mop, and I'm going to get it a little bit damp. I'll wipe it off with a towel, and I'm going to come over and mix a purple that I like, and then get some white involved into it. Now, you might be like, purple? Fish tanks have no purple. Not unless the fish are purple. But the thing is sometimes when you do art, it's fun to create grounds, solid colors, that are not what you'd expect in the scene. And you can see I'm just being super loose about it. Just painting it in. You can go around the sides if you want. That's absolutely fine. You don't even have to use this brush for this particular step. You just can. There we go. Nice little background. All right. Just painting around. You guys are doing good. Take a deep breath. Let it out. Don't hold any tension while you're painting. You want to relax while you're painting. Relax your shoulders, relax your body, relax your mind. We're just going to be in this calm purple water with our green puffer. Well, our Amazonian puffer. This is my son's favorite fish. I'm going to put that in there. Now, I'm going to come through while this is all still sort of wet and then maybe like do a little more ultramarine blue in a couple spots. And that's just to create some depth and dimension in the background. Wow, that's looking super, super, super good. I like it very, very much. Just light pressure on my brush, working it around, blending it in, and then I'll check, you know, I got to check my overhead, which is what I look forward at, but you just want to step back from your painting every once in a while and just make sure you're happy with what you're seeing, that things are what you're hoping that they are and they look right to you. You know, I have an interesting couple of spots here, and they're either on the camera or on the canvas, and I don't know which. So here's how I'm going to test it. Camera. That's why I put some more color up there, as I was just making sure. Sometimes you see something and you're like, what is that? That's not anything. All right, this is a nice energetic background. And I like that energy of the background quite a lot. Gives our little puffer something exciting to be in. These guys are wild. They come from South America, and they're apparently the last of the puffer fish to go from saltwater to freshwater, and they had this incredibly strange and interesting spawning cycle. If you ever want to just have a fun nature dive into an animal that's really kind of cool, and you've already like gone through the axolotls and the water bears and all that, check out this fish. There's a whole part of their cycle where their area is like almost like a dry mud puddle, and then a flood comes in and it floods the whole forest. And that's when they spawn, and that's when they grow, and that's when they eat. So they're really interesting, and they're one of the few communal of the puffers. So I'm not a fish tank expert. I watch a lot of fish tank videos. Taking no credit for this information at all. And anyway, but I am going to dry this. We'll come back and we'll give it a quick sketch. It'll be fun. So what I'm going to want to do is sketch in my puffer, and weirdly I'm going to use some purple to do it. Even though he will in no way be purple. I'm going to come in and kind of try to create some gesture here. So let's arc our little body over. Ooh, I like that. I like that generalized little arc. So that lets me know the bend that I'm going to be working with. Maybe a little more purple. I don't expect you actually to paint with me. I do provide traceables, and this is a traceable on the website. If you go to theartsherpa.com, you can find thousands of other videos like this. So this is the only puffer fish I have ever painted on the channel. Even though I have painted fish many times. I'm going to come out here for the eye. Try to get a little body shape here. Now, one of the things that's interesting is I can come back with the background color and paint that out. So I can capture these little details of how the little face works. Puffers are wild, especially freshwater puffers, because they have like a little smile. It's one of my sons just loves them. And they're fish that can recognize you, much like an Oscar. I'm a huge Oscar fan too. I kept Oscars myself. And yeah, they're really fascinating little fish. If you have not thought about that. We are right now in setting up a new aquarium, and that's a fun time in our lives. I'm going to bring this off here and say, all right, we've got a little tail. You know, and then we'll pay attention to little things like the fins and stuff. Now, while I'm at it, I'm going to get a little brown onto my brush. Come over here into this mix. And I'm going to make sure that I paint sort of the underside as darker color. If you use the traceable, you'll skip any of the much parts where I change my mind. Maybe move some part of the fish. But right now I'm going to just lightly fill that in a little bit. And then I have to decide about this line right here and how I want it to be. But that's a light, nice little sketch in. All right, now let's come here and say, let's say that there's somebody where could they be? I wanna put like a little snack or something like he's looking at somebody to eat. They eat snails. It's both horrifying and adorable, actually. But I want to make sure I've got the scale for the snail. So I'm going to come here and get this little, I think this is a ram's horn, if I'm correct. I will be painting a ram's horn snail. But you know what, fish enthusiasts, if it's a mystery snail, you can just, here's what, anytime I paint a fish, you guys are totally welcome to be like, no, that is wrong. And I will just roll with it. So this is me just kind of working out the sketch and deciding like what is happening there. Snails have like a little bit of a shape. I'm just using the corner of my brush, right? I'm just thinking about where the grasses might go. All right, so we got a little action scene here. We got a little story. We have a little mild, well, the snail's not in mild peril. The snail is in, for the snail, this is sort of like the movie Aliens. But for us, it's really a cute little fish getting a snack. So it's just, I guess, all about perspective, I suppose. And I'm just sort of making sure I'm happy with that shape of the horn. And then I'm happy with the bow of the grasses, I think. The little aquarium plants. So that's it. That's all I'm going to do to sketch that in. I'm like, guys, I'm just riffing and making it up as I go. So just so you know, some of this is just me getting back to myself and having some fun. So I'm going to dry everything, and when we come back, I'll show you the next step. Now I've added some glasses to my face so I can see what's going on my canvas. I'm going to be using a number 6 Raphael Sepia. This is just a round brush that I really, really like, and I'm going to paint on my grasses. I'm going to take my green, maybe a little burnt sienna together and make a nice initially dark green. Just a dark, dark green. And let's come here to this, to the little tip, and make sure that it's delicate. Now, one of the things I will suggest is that you make some of the grasses thick and some thin, because as they twist in the water, their profile changes. There we go. Take that off the side a little bit. Deep breaths. Taking a little burnt sienna to the phthalo green. You've got this. I'm just pressing down with my brush. Making sure the world that the snail and the pufferfish live in, it feels real and complete. And you'll see that the thick and thin lines is really nice. Now I can come into my yellow, and if I add more brown to it, it'll go green gold, which is a great color for aquatics. I'm just mixing a little more yellow in there. Just adding a little dimensionality. And we'll keep adding dimensionality to it. This isn't the last time we'll come in and think about it. You'll be like, man, we were weirdly thoughtful about grass. And I'm going to be like, yeah, I know. Make sure that the dark goes in front of there. Okay, that's looking really good. Now, kind of above it, what I'm going to want to do, I'm going to rinse out. And I'm going to take my cad red and some of my quinacridone together. And then I'll work over with my yellow ochre. Just painting still with the round brush. This is the dark part of everything. I really have to think about and look at this too. I think I might paint the shell in solid because I really want to see the spiral. I got to think about how that spiral is on the shell. And around here, just building up. Get a little bit of my purple in there. What I'm going to say is that the center here will be darker. I'm going to darken that up. And then I'm going to bring the spiral out. Shading that just a little bit as I go. Curling that around. And then I will kind of shade the back side as well. So just getting the beginnings of some thoughty thoughts going on there. Those hues over there. All those colors. And kind of put a little bit of a top on there. So Snail doesn't know how tasty he is. Then we're going to bring up a little long. When you're doing aquatic snails, you really want to be kind of elegant and long with these because the antennas are super expressive. Get a little more of my little burgundy here. Kind of pull that in. And that's all we're going to do on that step. Let dry everything. We come back and I'm going to show you what's next. So I'm going to put out that Mars Black now, and I'm going to put it up by my burnt sienna. There we go. Put it aside so through time travel I can remember to tell you that it will be out later. Through the magic of time travel or editing, whichever. I'm going to come in and do a little sketching around the face. I'm still using the round. I'm lightly loading my brush. And I'm going to just make sure that the cute shapeness of us is just perfect. Now, Capturing that little section of mouth is like really important to me. Really important to the fish, looking like the fish. Now, back here, I'm going to be putting in the eye. I have to decide size, how close I want to put it to the belly. And all you can do for that is to use reference pictures of fish, right? So you can know what they look like. That's really all you do. You just have a reference picture. Also, this is going to be in white. Kind of coming around, and then we've got a couple little spots that will be here. And that is pretty good. Now I can switch back to my angle brush. So this is my Princeton angle. It's a little, it's a half-inch angle. And I'm going to lightly rough in some of the fish. So let's take a little bit of our yellow ochre and a little of our burnt sienna, and we're going to start painting in this color on the fish. Now remember, I can come back in with a background, and I might be doing some light flares and things, so little lens flares. There's nice depth already to our little fish friend. But I can come over here and get a little bit of my white on there. Come back in a second for that. Now I'm going to be on the edge of my brush, and I make very, very light lines. And then this is almost a dry brush coming back. I'm wanting to create a streaky little tail effect. That looks pretty nice. Gonna load up again. Right here, there seems to be a little bit of a fin. Puffer be puffering. Now, I kind of want to come around and clean up around my puffer, just so I don't have that dark line that I'm contending with. So I'm going to go back into my white and my purple for just a second. Now that I'm looking, I just kind of want to do that. So I can kind of blend it and take it out. I'm going to maybe come back and bring in a little darkness here. So when you paint a really specific animal, you want to pay attention to the details. It's another reason why I chose this for my first painting back to see how I'm doing, is because this is going to ask me for some really specific details. You can see and just come back through. And I think maybe darker back here. Bring this around. I can always blend it out with my other brush, with my oval mop. And then kind of offload my brush a bit, get my lightest color. Not quite so light. But you find that middle road and come back and create a better transition. I never really stress about the small stuff because of this ability to do that, where we can just not go back in and I don't mind that there's a little more energy where he's coming in from. I think that that actually is nice for him. Let's call this a step because we did a bunch here. And when we come back, we're going to keep adding some details. So now that we have this sort of in, I want to come back to my green, which was my burnt sienna, right here, my phthalo green, and a little bit of cad yellow. And I was heavier in the burnt sienna, so it went green gold. Now I'm going to come here and add lighter. I might even get white involved just so you can see the lighter. Just creating a little dimensionality there. Pink booger. Gotta watch for little pink boogers. Sometimes your tubes of paint will add a few paint boogers to your palette. I'd like to get where, I was painting even specific aquatic plants and things. I think that that would be really enjoyable. That's looking pretty nice. I like it. I like it a lot. Now I'm going to take my pink that I have over here, which is my quin, anacridone, my cad red, and a little bit of my yellow ochre. And let's get a lot of white involved. I'm going to, with little short brush strokes, I'm still just on this number 6 round. Just lightly lighten the face of the snail. Come back with like a little more pink. And a little more white. Like little tapping marks to sort of talk about this, the texture of the snail. The snail's little skin texture. And glaze in with some purple for shape later, but this will really do a nice job. And then I will want to, as carefully as I can, kind of come in and kind of drag that in on a long, slow pull. Watch for water drops. Now a lot more white. there along that frill. Oh, such a good. And then, of course, a lot more white here along the foot. I'm going to come on the front of the snail shell. There we go. That's looking pretty good. Little texture up the antennas. Tapping in that little face. He just looks good. Alright, I'm going to come right here. Definitely want a little yellow. There we go. I bring this around. It's a really pretty snail. It's a shame that he's so tasty. Unfortunate for him that he's like the nummy num num of the freshwater aquarium for these fish. They can clear a lot of these snails in a short amount of time if you ever have like that kind of a problem, man. They are voracious little eaters. I'm bringing a little more white and I'm making it kind of streaky so that the like layers of the stratas on the shell are like clearly visible. Maybe a little yellow. Bring a little bit of yellow and white in there. Kind of, again, engage the shell a bit. Then we get a little bit of brown and mix it in. Kind of come back up. What a colorful shell. And then once I have that done, come in and grab a little bit of my white. Look at this. Just making little highlights through there. Well, now we have a very tasty, tasty snail. Just minding its own business. But Mr. Puffer says, not today, sir. Today you get in my belly. You get in my tummy tum tum. 'Cause you nummy num num. I'm really glad I picked this subject. It did help me a lot get past, what my concerns were. Okay, let's call that a step. When we come back, I'll show you what you do next. So I'm going to put my eyeglasses back on. That way I can see everything. I'm going to continue on with my round. I put black paint out, Mars black paint, next to my burnt sienna. And I'm going to mix together my burnt sienna and my Mars black. Create an almost black chocolate brown. And I'm going to think a little bit about the markings. I'm going to, here at the center, those will be longer on the stripe. And then bring that down there. There's also some nice markings here around the mouth. It's like with the snail. Sometimes it's just fun to do this work. Now, I'm going to come here and add a little smile. You might be like, that's too much of a smile. Actually, they have that much of a smile. It's wild. It is super wild. I'm also going to come back here towards the mid-back of the body and add a little bit of darkening where I will be putting a fin. Some little bit here. And then I think I'll rinse out. No, actually, it's pretty good. Watch for that water drop that can get on there. So these little guys, they are super duper 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 cute. And unlike other puffers, they have an almost peaceful-ish personality. Not peaceful if you're a snail. Not peaceful if you're a crustacean. But peaceful if you're another puffer. And that's sort of unusual for them because they can school together and they don't get so big. There's a really famous puffer at an aquarium. And he's one of the MBU kind of thing puffers. And he's like 30 inches. He's so big. You need such a large tank. I'm going to come back and add a little bit of the markings. Just getting these in. Now I'm going to come here and make sure that this is right there. Let's kind of come back here. Sometimes I just will wiggle it, but when you're, again, painting something specific, like if you're painting somebody's pet, right? And a lot of people refer to these as, there's certain fish that are referred to as water puppies, like Oscars and puffers. Those are fish that have facial recognition, like they can know you. And unlike murder wasps, that's not a sad thing. They like know that you're the person who brings the snails and therefore are really happy to see you. And they really, you've got to think about their aquariums a bit and that they can't be boring because you need to entertain the fish because they're highly intelligent. My son, if you ever want to hear somebody just get super, super, super upset, you say that goldfish don't remember things because he would like everyone to know that goldfish do remember. They have a long memory. They can learn tricks. And he takes his fish love very, very seriously. I take his fish love very, very seriously too. And I can bring this kind of down here around. You can see him kind of curving that around. So I'm trying to get the feeling of it going. And then let's come here and I'm going to really think about the shape of the eye now. It's a little bit squarish up top. And we're going to paint some bright, there's going to be, one of the things when you're painting fish, and if you've ever seen those old Dutch master still lifes where there's a dead fish in the painting, there's an iridescence to the scales. There's this sort of sheen and opalescence. And so we're going to definitely make sure that we include that here. So if you're wondering how to do that, this is a really good video because I'm going to show you how. I'm going to come in the center again here, and it's kind of a square pupil. There we go. Everything we do, he looks more puffer by the minute. So I'm going to come here and grab a little bit of my burnt sienna, my green, and my yellow. But we'll start pretty dark. Wipe that off so we don't get water drops where we don't want them. And I can start with this as my base. Looking pretty nice. And I'll come into some of my little green gold. Just a little bit of shading to begin with. Something to think about. I'll put my round brush to the side for a little bit. And then I'm going to come back into I'm going to do a yellow ochre and cad yellow a little. And I'll put burnt sienna in where I need it. You can see that that's pretty nice. Just painting in the colors, layering them in. Now I'm going to let that have a second there. And I'm going to go back to my round brush because it's going to give me more control around the turn in some of these little smaller spaces. Get a little burnt sienna into it. And a little white. Kind of tone it with some green. Now I'm starting to add a little bit to the bottom. A little more here. Now let's go right into my black. Really position myself so I can see it. Oh, there we go. That's looking pretty good. It's looking very puffery. Now I'm gonna, for the mouth and fins, I'm actually gonna make a little bit of a difference here. I'm gonna make this blue-gray color. And that's what I'm gonna start working on, like for these right here. Come in and A little bit sort of shaded there. I'm going to grab a little more of my white. I'll highlight the top. Giving us a nice little cute face. Now, sometimes I want to get in there, and if I want to go around and kind of create a little more drama around the fish, I can use a round blender and get my brush a little wet. You can do it with either glaze or, and I think maybe we should think about using glaze to do this technique. You can also just do it with water if you don't have any glazing liquid. So this is satin glazing liquid. This is by Golden Artist Colors. It is the only product that both lets you glaze and slow down the drying time of your paint in one that I have found that I like. Helps with fins and other things too. But first we're going to kind of get it a little bit glazed on my brush. And I'm going to grab my darker purple, and you can see that that creates the glaze. And that's going to let me kind of come around here. Mixing the quinacridone and the ultramarine blue. You can see by glazing, it's another way to blend something out. I'm just blending that out. Another surprising place to use this color. Let's make sure it's a purple glaze. Come down here and off this corner, kind of glaze over the plants, but just the low parts of them. And then once that part is done, you can see. Now I use a matte finish, and I do that because the camera can get really thrown by gloss finishes. And so by using a matte finish, it makes it more photographable for us, but also for you, just so you know, if you're having trouble photographing your art. He's looking super cute. I enjoy his adorableness to the nth degree. And I like how the glaze worked. That was what I hoped for, so I'm super glad for it. I'm going to use maybe some of it over Mr. Snail here at the back and under the shell. So I'm just glazing a little bit of color there to just deepen him and help him be more cute. More cute. Okay, let's dry everything and come back. I'm going to show you what you do next. So we're at the stage of the painting where I really want you to pay attention to how you're sitting and how you're feeling mentally and physically. You know, take a second, do a body check, make sure nothing's hurting, make sure you're not hunched over. You know, just a little self-care there. Take a deep breath. Let it out. Remember to breathe. And I say that because we're about to do some fine lining. And whenever we fine line, one of the things that we do is sometimes hold our breath, which is okay. That helps us steady our line. But we've got to remember to resume breathing when we're done. Now I'm going to take my round brush again, and I'm going to mix up a dark purple with the round brush, and I'm going to come very carefully to my little antenna, and just as carefully as I can, add a little line of shadow. Now this is the little antenna that is closest to us on the little snail's face. And you may ask yourself, why spend that much time painting a snail that is going to be in the food of the bellies of the little Amazonian puffers, you know, but they're from the Amazon, and I feel like things from the Amazon, you know, they specialize. These guys have specialized. I'll bring that up. Just making sure that there's a little glaze. And back into my snail color, which if you remember was cad red, quinacridone magenta, and yellow ochre. But now I'm going to get white involved again. I just keep working these antennas until they give me joy in my core. That's another thing to do with your core besides sit-ups is find the joy. I do want it to be a color. And that just makes these just lovely. And I just want them to be just lovely. Just lovely little feelers out feeling the world. Feeling, feeling, feeling. Really delicate. There we go. It's just looking so good. Now I've got my blue-gray here. I've got my titanium white. And I'm going to make sure that about this part right here, and then a little bit down, here we go. That's looking pretty good. I love it. Now we're going to go back and try to thin up again. Back with my angle brush. I'll come here and add some of this kind of blue-gray to the fin. And then a little bit here. Yeah. When I have a little bit of the fin painted, I'm going to rinse out, put this aside, and I'm going to get my round brush again with a very light color of the fin color. And right here, I'm going to make a little tiny, tiny fin. And by painting that little edge, right, 'cause sometimes that's all you see on fins. There we go. let's grab a little bit of this here and we'll come and cap that little tail. See, it's like a little wiggling line. I just dance it along. And there we go. We got a little bit of that. It's looking pretty good. I'm going to grab a little bit of this as well and come to the outside of the eye. A little bit with that. And a little bit right here. Just a hint of it. Okay, I'm going to grab some orange, which is my cad red and my cad yellow. A little bit at the bottom there. Come to the top a little bit. There we go. A little bit of shine. A little bit of sheen. Now I'm going to take some of my yellow and green. Just yellow, just green. It's super vibrant. And I want a very, very yellow-green version of it. So it's super light. And come here and under this eye. And maybe a little bit there. A little bit here. And a little green gold. Kind of coming in the front. Look at him start to shine. He's starting to be shiny, shiny. I'm going to grab a little bit of my yellow. A little bit at the top there. A little bit right there. So see, he's got that little bit of iridescence. You got to have it for it to work, you know. Now I'm going to head over to his little mouth. Put a highlight there, right there in that little corner. Another one there. Oh, look at him go. He's just cutie patootie. Let's take a little bit of our yellow and our cad yellow and mix a brighter yellow. And we're going to add some just little thoughtful, sheeny highlights. Here's a little bit right here. Another little bit right here coming back. Just kind of creating some little highlights on him. And then I'm going to go way more into the yellow. And I may come kind of make a little scaling pattern. Come behind the fin. Maybe even right there. And then you get the white going. I'll wipe off. Make little reflections right here. Little scale marks, just little dashes. Talk about the sheen on him. 'Cause he's got some. Well, look at us go, man. We are making headway. I'll get some light color. Again, this is from my burnt sienna and my ultramarine blue. And some little fin lines here, just so they're kind of cute. Gonna also add some little fin lines here. I think we're doing super good. I believe we're almost there. Let's make this sure this one is up here and reads well. So when we talk about reading in art, we just all we mean is that you can tell what it is. Can you tell it's a fin? It doesn't matter. I'll tell you a true story about art. It doesn't matter how many pufferfish references you have that show something a particular way, and that's how it's photographed. If it doesn't read in the painting, it doesn't read in the painting. You have to figure out a different way to do it. Oh, I like that. I think we can do a signature, actually. I think we're ready for one of those. All right, I'm going to come down here. I think I'll just take a light color and sign right before my grasses. If you like this, let me know in the comments. If you have a fish you want to see painted, let me know. If you have a pet fish, if you have a wet puppy, and you want to see that kind of fish painted, let me know. Because I am loving painting these. These are so fantastic. He is so cute. I love him so much. Oh my goodness. Well, guys, we painted an Amazonian pufferfish. This is freshwater puffer. Check out the videos I mentioned in the intro if you're interested to know more about these fish. I don't make fish videos, but I am inspired by them. And check the description below as well for more information. Or just paint the fish, because I find I like to paint things that I adore but live beautifully in the wild as well, is kind of something that's very, very nice. I hope you love your little puffer scene as much as I love my little puffer scene. I want you to be good to yourself, be good to each other, and I will see you at an easel really soon. Bye-bye.